All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
Welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Big up to each and every one of you guys. Yeah, Dexter. Sad times indeed. And Rain, you're right. Finish club, man. We have now spent 12 months. We have now spent 12 months, or maybe more than 12 months, being in mid-table, being below or equal to 10th. 12 months. Do you know how crazy that sounds for a club like Chelsea to be mid-table for 12 months? And it doesn't seem like we're going to move away from this anytime soon. We spend a lot of time talking about manager. We spend a lot of time talking about the players. And obviously, there's a lot of fault in them as well. But you know what? Today, in this particular stream with you guys, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the owners and the board, right? Todd Boehly, Eghbali, the Clear Lake Capital. We're going to talk about Paul Winstanley, Lawrence Stewart. I mean, those two guys, for me, they're puppets anyway. Lawrence Stewart, Paul Winstanley, they're just puppets. So predominantly, we're going to talk about the owners. I think we need to start talking some really, really serious conversations about these owners. Assess how it all started, when they took over, what they did, and where we are right now. What is their thought process? What makes them think they can bring Chelsea back to the top? All of their ridiculous statements like creating the 100-point squad, this youthful project. We need to talk about all of this. We need to talk about it, and we need to deep it. We need to talk about it, and then we need to deep the situation. These owners, they had a football club that had an identity of winning on a regular basis. Competing at a bare minimum. This football club under Roman, yeah, sure, it wasn't winning the Premier League titles, and maybe the odd here and there it was coming, 5th, 6th. But what we're seeing now under this new ownership, this is unprecedented. Under Roman, at least we were making into Champions League. We were probably a distant third, a distant fourth, but we were in the Champions League. We were winning the odd trophies here and there. Champions League, if you want to call that odd. So we had the basis. We had the basis to win stuff and to compete. These owners, they took over and they decimated everything. They literally decimated every living organism in this football club. that had some form of winning mentality, they decimated it all. Anyone that was a winner in this club, they sacked them all. And they wanted to start afresh. No problems, no problems. Okay. You want to start afresh. You want to start a brand new project. You want to have a brand spanking new feel about the club. But brother, what did you do? Not only you sacked everyone that knew how to win in this football club, that knew the DNA, the fabric of this club, which is at a bare minimum to compete. Not only you sacked all of them, but you then replaced everyone with mediocrity. You bring in people from Brighton. You bring in people from Monaco. You're not bringing the elites. You're not bringing the elites. You want to run an elite football club with mediocre personalities. What, do you know what us fans, like, obviously we're fans, that's why, right? We love the football club so much. But now when I think back, now when I actually recall everything back from the time they took over, man, we have been fooled. How did we not see this? How did we not see this? Players as well, data-driven decisions, data-driven transfer policy. They brought all of this American-based, and I'm sorry to say this, I know a lot of my American followers, a lot of the American subscribers, but I'm sorry to say this. This is very much Americanized. All of these data-based decisions, data-based transfers. Bro, watch the game. Watch the game. Brought in all of these players based on data. Do you know what? We're no different to how Brighton is run. Potentials. Loads of potentials. And this is what I want to understand. What is the owner's philosophy? What is actually going in their head? How did they actually envisage, how can we take Chelsea back to... And this is the thing. Chelsea didn't even need to go back to competing. We were competing. We were there. We were never 10th, 11th, 12th. We were never that. We were never this bad how we are. What was the owner's plan to take Chelsea to the next level? Did they actually think they're going to just do this with youth? Every other day, 18-year-old, 17-year-old, 16-year-old. They got us excited with all of these kids. They got us picking out clips of these kids in all over the world. Did our owners honestly think that we are going to be top of European football, we're going to be top of the Premier League by bringing in loads of young players? Is that what the philosophy was? And what's the whole thing about you're not bringing in an elite level manager as well? You sacked Thomas Tuchel not for footballing reasons. Not for footballing reasons. You sacked Thomas Tuchel, who honestly would have got us back on track eventually enough, because he's an elite level manager. We've seen other managers, for instance, Klopp. He's had fantastic seasons with Liverpool, and then the odd season here and there where they've been poor, but they've stuck by him because he's an elite manager. He'll get them back up again. You've sacked Thomas Tuchel, and then you replaced him with Graham Potter. I want to understand, what is the thought process? You replaced Thomas Tuchel with Graham Potter. It's one mediocre decision after another, after another, after another. How are you actually? Well, honestly, I just want to sit down and ask the owners, what was your thought process? What was your thought process? You really thought Graham Potter was going to take us to the top? You really thought Graham Potter was going to do that? It's not surprising that Graham Potter couldn't get a hold of this squad. It's not surprising that he flopped the way he flopped magnificently. And then when you had the opportunity to make things right again, you weren't even looking to sack Potter. You sacked him because of the fan pressure. And then when you sacked him, who did you get? You got Frank Lampard. You got Frank Lampard. A particular manager that has got the worst win percentage at Chelsea Football Club. A particular manager who I thank him for his services for the first season and bringing us, giving us top 4 with the transfer ban. But let's be honest, Frank was never a manager. Frank was never a manager. He had no idea what he was doing. And then you allowed for that to continue last season. Losses after losses after losses after losses. You allowed to just continue to the point where Chelsea was just an afterthought. You literally disintegrated the club. Okay, no problems. First season, write off. You made a lot of mistakes. You went to the dressing room. You talked a lot of crap. You interfered. You sacked an elite manager to get an absolute mid-table manager. You sacked everyone in the football club, decimated the football club. Literally everyone that knew how to win, you sacked them all. And then this season, you got rid of so many players. And some needed to go, no doubts about that. Some definitely needed to go. Some wanted to leave, no problems. Then you realize that you made a mistake last season. You go, I'm going to take a step back. Because we don't know anything about football. Because clearly, our owners have no idea about football. That's a fact. They may be good business people, and they may be doing some really good business for us in terms of, balancing the books, but they've got no idea about football. And the only idea they have about sports is what they have, the knowledge of the American sports, how it's run in America, all data-based, Moneyball. In America, it's all about the Moneyball. Youthful projects, build up the youth to be super. These are all American concepts. So then you say you want to take a step back and you place Brighton head honcho and a Monaco head honcho. You want Chelsea Football Club to be run by a Brighton man and a Monaco man. What did we expect? What did we expect? And then these lot, now I don't know whether this is a directive from the owners or this is a move from our sporting directors to go after players, the gems. The data looks good. Let's see if they work out. The gems of the market. I don't know whether this is a directive from the owners or this is a plan. This is a particular move done by the sporting directors themselves? I'm not sure. Either way, it's bad. Either way, it's bad. Did they actually think in the Premier League? Did they actually think in the Premier League we're going to be competing against some of the best teams with predominantly kids in our squad? Is that what they thought? They're definitely talented players. Don't get me wrong. They're very, very talented. But it's too many potential players. It's too many of them. You don't run an elite club like this. You just don't. An elite club has a spine of world-class players or close to world-class players, experienced players that just know how to win. And then you add the potentials. You add the potentials. Now, we have a spine of young players and we also have the surroundings of young players. That's what's going on. And then on top of that, you hired another yes man. So not only you got screwed last season by hiring the most ultimate yes man of Graham Potter, and not only you didn't rectify that, you got in Frank Lampard. And then in order to get a fresh, clean start this season, you hired Pochettino. Yet another person that is not going to rattle the boat, that is not going to challenge you, that is going to collaborate with you. Why? What's wrong with you? Why aren't you thriving for excellence? Why aren't you thriving for excellence? Why aren't you bringing players? And no one asked you to spend £1 billion, by the way. No fans, none of the fans ever asked our owners to spend $1 billion. And oh my God, how poorly has it been spent? You think we're going to be happy because you spent $1 billion? You spent it ridiculously. This is what I mean. No common sense, no footballing knowledge. Honestly, you didn't even need to spend £1 billion. Billion pounds. You probably just needed to spend about £300 million and bring in 3-4 proper solid players. Four proper solid players. Striker, midfielder, centre back, goalkeeper. 4 solid players, and then you could have had just nice, decent players in and around. You didn't need to buy all of these. Half of the players you bought don't even play for us. They're all over the world. You needed to buy 3 to 4 absolute brilliant players. And you needed to get an absolute elite manager. And you needed to implement some elite sporting directors, not some Brighton and Monaco they're selling clubs. They have a different mentality. They have a different philosophy. They're not there to win stuff. They're only there to make profit out of player sales. Find the gems and sell. We are bringing those type of people to come to Chelsea and run an elite level football club, which is going to try and win silverware. This is how we're going to do that. So now here we are. Ladies and gentlemen. Here we are. 10th. So this stupidity, this absolute stupidity has now continued for almost 2 seasons. This utter nonsense stupidity from the owners has continued for almost 2 seasons. We are most likely not going to be anywhere in relevant positions for European conversations this season. Most likely. So where, ladies and gentlemen, comes a point where the owners start thinking what we are doing is wrong? When do the owners actually sit down and go, wait a minute, we've now done this for 2 seasons and we have effing flopped magnificently. We have been disintegrated. There is no brand. It's an absolute laughing stock. When do the owners actually own up and say, do you know what? Maybe the direction that we thought was going to bring success is probably a bit far-fetched, you know. Maybe our philosophy, our ideology. Give me one example. Give me, honestly, I don't know where these owners got this vision that, this youthful project worked for that team that then exploded and won everything. I don't know where the owners got this precedent. Where did they get the example? Give me one example where a team is filled with mediocrity, mediocre manager, bunch of kids, mediocre sporting directors. Which club has, with this package, has won a lot of stuff? Which club? I can't think of a single club. So they have to sit down now. Patrick saying Red Bull Salzburg and Red Bull Leipzig. Honestly, what has Red Bull Salzburg, besides their league, which, come on, let's be honest, what have they done in European stages? Red Bull Leipzig. What's Leipzig done in Bundesliga? I'm talking about elite level. And if that is the model that they tried to follow, Red Bull Salzburg and Leipzig, well, we are going, we're not even them. We're not even Red Bull Leipzig and Salzburg. At least Salzburg and Leipzig, they compete. We're not even them. We don't even compete. We don't compete anymore. Forget about winning. We don't compete. So there has to come a point. There has to come a point. There has to come a point where the owners will have to sit down and they will have to hold that emphatically. They will have to hold the L right here emphatically. And they will have to reassess. They have to. Because you carry on in this manner, it is only going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Do you think we're going to beat Everton? What's the score? What's the score now? What's the score? 0-0. Everton versus Newcastle, 0-0, 38 minutes at Goodison Park. Do you know how hard it is to play Everton at Goodison Park? Have a look at Everton's recent form. Last 5 matches, Everton 3 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. These guys are not some Mickey Mouse team. These guys, they put the effort. They put the effort. They compete. They may not always look pretty to watch, but they compete. We're going to get our backside handed to us. I'm not expecting nothing from Everton. I'm most likely expecting a loss. Most likely expecting a loss. Because our players, our manager, they don't have the capacity. They don't have the capacity to weather the storm like this. They just don't. They crumble. They crumble at Stamford Bridge, for God's sake. They crumble in front of our own fans. Our owners soon have to wake up and go, do you know what? Scrap all these plans. Let's get back to how Chelsea used to be run before. Let's just bring in an elite manager. Let's bring in some elite sporting directors. Let's bring in some elite players. And let's absolutely get the F out of here. We're not going to come to Stamford Bridge. We're not even going to talk about anything. We're going to give people the responsibility to run the show here. What we're going to do is we're going to watch from afar. And then every season, we're going to come down and have a board meeting and look at what has happened. We're going to hold people accountable. We're going to give the objective from the start of the season. The objective will be X, Y, Z. And then we are going to F off. We're going to F off. We don't know you. You don't know us. We don't know you. We're going to F off. You do your thing. We'll give you the powers to run the place. But at the end of the season, when I come back and I'm doing the review and I'm sitting down with all of you guys, the manager, the board of the sporting directors, I need answers. If the result hasn't been hit, I need answers. That's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. And you hold them accountable. If they fail magnificently, you got to get rid of them. You got to get rid of them. If there is no proper explanation. Right now, and now I'm going to talk about the manager. So all this time I've been talking about the owners, sporting directors. Now I'm going to talk about the manager. Even with this lot that we have, right? Lots of kids. Even with them, our manager has to find a way to motivate them. These they are more motivated to talk to Astrid Wet. They are more motivated to talk to Astrid Wet and ask her for her pictures. Do you understand where the mindset is for these lot? Madueke gets injured. He's injured almost all throughout the season, and he's going out partying. Our captain, I don't know what's going on with Reece James. I'm not really sure. I'm not sure if Reece James is bothered anymore. I don't know what's going on. Our manager needs to get a lot more than what we are seeing now. This is ridiculous. Yes, there's a lot of kids. Yes, we have already put the blame on the owners and the sporting directors. Yes. But now you've been handed the cards. Pochettino, you've been handed the cards, and you knew Pochettino, you knew. When you came for the interview, Chelsea laid out all the plans. You laid out your plans. You knew. Do not act like this is all a surprise to you. Don't be like, oh my God, I had no idea. Don't act like you're all surprised. You knew what you were getting into. But you are not making us compete. You are not making us compete on a regular basis. That's the bare minimum I expect from a manager. Every game you're making us play for about 15, 20 minutes max every game. Besides maybe Manchester City, that was 90 minutes. We fought hard. Liverpool, we fought hard. That was the first match. We didn't win. Both of these games we didn't win. But besides that, all the other matches, we did not fully compete. And at a bare minimum, I expect our manager to at least compete, at least get the lads focused. Why is this so difficult for you? Unai Emery, look at his players. Look how focused they are. Ange Postecoglou, look how focused his players are. Eddie Howe, look how focused his players are. De Zerbi, look how focused his players are. At a bare minimum, make us players focused. And then you come post-match and you say, the lads gave everything. After abysmal performance against Man United, you say the lads gave everything. Now, I don't know if you're taking the mick out of these players. I don't know if you're like playing this game and letting the owners and the sporting directors know that this is the best that these lads can give. They gave everything. This mediocre group, they gave everything. They gave everything. Or are you actually believing that they gave everything? Because if it's the latter, and you actually believe they gave everything, oh my God. If that is everything, then we are done. Then we are done. And if it's the former, where you're playing some mind games, I don't think you're that smart, brother. I don't think you're that smart. And you shouldn't be playing mind games because you knew very well what you were getting into. You knew very well what we were getting into. Felix, thank you so much for the super chat. I don't mind some of the additions, Palmer plus midfield. The most important decision from board is always the coach. They had so much time and they got it wrong. Huge indictment of the board and ownership. 100%. 100%. They do hold a large part of the blame. There's no doubts about that. And my issue is now, when will they realize? When will they actually stop and go, do you know what? We've screwed up. We've screwed up for too long. Now let's try the other side. Let's try something different. Let's go back to how Chelsea used to operate. Top Dog RLG, thank you so much for the super chat. Boehly thought Brighton's model plus money, more money equals titles. There's a reason why elite clubs don't follow selling clubs model. Exactly. These guys actually saw the blueprint of these mid-table clubs and they thought, oh, but just by adding money, we are going to explode. We're going to create something different. No, you're not. You're not going to create nothing different. It don't work that way. Felix, thank you so much for the super chat again. We hounded Conte out after winning cup plus fifth. Sarri after third plus cup. That's below our standard. But our board thinks we are building 100-point team in 10th. So true, you know. So true. We have sacked managers for doing way better. We have sacked managers for doing way better. Now the story, ladies and gentlemen, now the story is, and this is what now the media is making us, wanting us to believe. Now the story is, once Nkunku comes back, we are winning everything. Nkunku, Lavia, Chilwell, Chukwuemeka, all of these players, the missing players, they're the ones that's stopping us to win. They're the ones. Once these players come back, no more losses. We are not losing a game. We are blitzing the opposition 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 nil. Our defense is going to be rock solid. Our midfield is going to be watertight. Our attack is going to look scintillating. Our manager is going to be smoking a cigar on the sideline. We are waiting for Nkunku. We are waiting for Nkunku. But until then, we must suffer. We must suffer. Like as if, touch wood, when Nkunku comes back, he's going to come back as Superman. Unstoppable, unbreakable. Putting all of this pressure on one player. All of this pressure on one player. Nkunku, ladies and gentlemen, the reason for our abysmal performances in goalkeeping position, in defense, in midfield, in attack, in managerial position, it's all due to Nkunku. It's all due to Nkunku. Nkunku comes back, everything will just fall into place like clockwork. everything will just fall into place. This is what the media wants us to believe now. This is what they want us to believe. Do you know what the funniest thing is going to be? You know what the funniest thing going to be? When Nkunku comes back and we get slapped up 5-0 by someone. That would be so funny, you know. Now the new thing, Nkunku made feature against Everton. What? Nkunku's just going to come in and start a 90-minute match. He's just going to come in and rock up and just start football matches. Man, this media told us Nkunku was going to be back against Newcastle. Media has been saying, oh, Nkunku might be... There's a very good chance Nkunku might be featuring off the bench against Newcastle. He's not even in the squad. Oh, there's a very good chance Nkunku might be featuring against Brighton. He's not even in the squad. Oh, there is a very, very top chance he might be featuring against Man United. He's not even in the squad. Oh, there is a... I'm not joking anymore. No more jokes. Honest to you. Swear to you. Telling the truth. Telling the truth. Nkunku definitely going to feature against Everton. Definitely he's featuring against Everton. I'm meant to fall for this again. I knew this was going to take a bit of time. I knew it's going to take a bit of time for Nkunku to return back. I knew that. Don't try and spin all this stuff and cover all of the issues at Chelsea Football Club and take away these, conversations away from the owners by putting the Nkunku spin on it. Don't do that. I'm certain Nkunku is not going to feature against Everton. I'm certain. And even if he does, he's only coming off the bench anyway. He's only coming off the bench anyway. And that too, he might even play just 10 minutes max. This is a player that hasn't played for like 4 or 5 months, man. What's one player going to do anyway? What's one player going to do anyway? This isn't about one player. This isn't about one player. But this is the thing. They think we are stupid. They treat us like as if we are idiots. It's only going to get bad, man. It's only going to get bad from here because slowly the players will lose interest. If the players have not already lost interest, because let me tell you something. Now let's talk about the players. So we talked about owners, we talked about the board, sporting directors, we talked about the manager. Now let's talk about the players. Honestly, once you keep getting battered like this, once you keep losing like this, now put yourself in this reality. Put yourself in a real situation where you're working for an organization that keeps getting battered week in, week out. There's immense inconsistency. I'm telling you, you're going to lose interest. You will lose interest. I've been in situations where organizations, just bad culture, man. It's not a winning culture. It's just pathetic mediocrity. I've been in those situations. You don't feel good, man. You don't feel motivated. It's very difficult to motivate yourself. It's very difficult to wake up and work hard for that organization. This is what's going to happen very soon. If it hasn't already started, I think it has already started. That performance by Reece James from our captain in the second half gave me an indication. I think these players, they're losing, they're getting a sour taste already. They're getting a sour taste. And why not? Why wouldn't they? You train, and then you still end up losing. And you know how sometimes we talk about what are these guys training on? It doesn't matter what they're training on. All of these players are training against each other or training with each other, right? Training with and against. They're all like kids training with kids. That's not the way to develop. How can we expect, I just deeped it, right? I was just thinking about this yesterday, like, oh, what do they do in training? And I just realized, say for example, if some of you guys are training to be, I don't know, boxers or whatever, and if you're training against people that are not at, expert level boxers, then you're gonna just be a bit of an idiot. You're not gonna be a proper elite level boxer. That's what's happening here. We've got a lot of footballers that are all kids who are training with each other, and they're not going to develop. There's a reason why back in the days when there was Drogba's, the Peter Cechs, the John Terrys, the Ashley Cole, the Frank Lampards, when they were training, apparently the training sessions were harder than the match. The training sessions were harder than the match. Players were developing in the training session. The match was just a side thing. Soon these players, they will lose interest if they haven't lost interest already. After every negative result, they will keep losing interest. Watch what happens when we lose or draw against Everton. These players will lose interest even more. And then it's very difficult for the manager. After that, the manager is done for. Once the entire group starts losing interest, it is so difficult for a manager to bring that back. Very difficult. Very, very difficult. Which serious professional sports person sits on OnlyFans at 2:00 midnight? What kind of recovery is that? Hey, when I talked about this, so many of you guys insulted me and talked down on me. When I said this same thing, it's not about this brother can do whatever he wants to do, no problems. But it's about what is going on in your head. 24 hours before a match against Brighton, after getting smashed by Newcastle, after you yourself putting an absolute disaster class of a performance, and then celebrating with your ex-team in Villarreal, this is what you're doing before a game against Brighton. A lot of people like me, what's your problem? What's your problem? They can do whatever they want, as long as you just score goals. Brother, this guy will not score goals. When your head is not in the game, you're not going to do anything. It's about having that mentality. It's about having that character. It's about having that personality. Do you understand? It's not just about, train, rock up at the match, play a match, and go away. No. It's a mindset. It's a mindset. You don't become elite by doing what Mr. Jackson is doing. That's not how you become elite. This generation of players don't care anymore. It seems they are on massive money for guaranteed 8 to 9 years, 8, 9 or 10 years. Why should they give a toss? Yeah, why should they give a toss? Felix means we looked worse versus United yesterday than under Potter. We have one game a week and he had a preseason. Exactly. I mean, how many more stuff we're going to say, right? So many things to say. One game a week. You had the preseason. This is why I said this season, no excuses. This is why I specifically said this season, no excuses. And now we see our manager on a regular basis talking about process, our manager on a regular basis talking about project, our manager now saying that the lads gave everything. But is that Graham Potter behind? Is it Graham Potter with Pochettino's face mask? We have better players. There are no excuses anymore for this fraud manager. Yeah. Because I remember when Poch said in the summer, they at me at their friend. I'm trying to change that. all I see from these players were laughs and giggles during training sessions. I need Jose Mourinho. Yeah, man. It's just, as I said, the entire setup is full of mediocrity. We have owners that don't understand football and how to achieve excellence in football. They don't understand that. They've got this philosophy, which is a flawed philosophy, a philosophy of just data-based driven decisions, data-based transfer policy, get youth, build with youth, and you're going to win silverware. No, it's a flawed policy. It's a flawed philosophy. No elite team has done this and won a lot of silverware. And then they put a bunch of directors who are also mediocre, who've come from mediocre clubs. And then they've topped it off by putting a manager who's also not an elite level manager. It's a recipe for disaster, and that's exactly what we are seeing. That's exactly what we're seeing. Now, the question is, when are they going to wake up and say, enough's enough? We need to start reverting. We need to change the religion. We need to leave what we are on now, whatever religion we're on now, and take up a new belief. Take up a new belief. Time to take up a new belief. Seek a new path. Fear, Miz, think about this under Tuchel's season where Roman got banned. We finished third with 6 losses. This season, with an owner like Boehly, we have 6 losses in 5. Do you know what? Look at that. What a crazy stat that is. What a crazy stat that is. On our banned season, on our season where we had sanctions, ownership issues, Roman being forced out, we still finished third. But that's what big clubs do, man. Even in your worst seasons, you still have some level of dignity. What we are doing right now is disgusting. Zero dignity. Zero dignity. We have zero dignity now. Fraser, Miz, you guys need a winning culture. It comes from your CEO and board of directors. That's how us at City winning, because Pep sees our directors and CEO follow his example. No, absolutely. It's from top down, no? It's from top down. Carlitos, thank you so much for the super chat. Should have kept Felix. Look at him cook at Barca. Yeah, but it's not just about one player, you know. It's not about just should have kept Felix and we would have won. No, it starts from the top. The entire structure needs to start rethinking as to what we need to do. We need a new plan. We need to go back to how we were winning before. What did we do back then? Which were the personalities? Which were the personnels? Our owners at the end of this season because this season's done. Like, honestly, don't expect much anymore. I'm finished expecting anything from this season anymore. This season's done. And every single weekend, every single match day, we're gonna get slapped in the face over and over and over again, because soon, as I said, the players will lose interest and the manager won't be able to do nothing. Another loss against Everton or another drop points against Everton is only going to put another nail on the coffin. So this season, it's finito. It's done for. So now the owners, they need to sit down and look back at the period where Roman was the owner and go, okay, how did he do things? What did he do? Who did he bring in? Let's try and follow, because we have a blueprint. We have a blueprint. And if you can't do that, then look at what City's doing. Don't follow what Arsenal's doing. Or the Arsenal model. The Arsenal model. What Arsenal model? We act as if Arsenal's won everything. They're yet to win anything, you know. Arsenal are yet to win anything under their new model of Arteta. Sure, they're playing better. Sure, they're competing. Of course, no problems. What model, ba? What model? Follow a model that has one stuff. City. If you wanna follow a model, follow City's model. Right now, we're not even following the Arsenal model. We're following Brighton model. We're not even following Arsenal model. We're following Brighton model. And we're not even executing that. We're following Brighton's model and we're not even executing that. Brighton are a better football club than us, the way they play. Better manager than us. De Zerbi is a better manager. There's no doubts about that. There's no two ways about that. If you want to achieve excellence, you follow the people that are excellent. You follow and you try and not just replicate, but add your little flavor, and you go from there. In Life No Limits, even if we could pinpoint a part of the team to say, look how Poch has improved this area of the team, defense, mid, attack, we could believe in the process. So, but yeah, no, there's not a single area of our game where you can say, oh yeah, that's a good area, you know. Yeah, our defense is rock solid under Pochettino. At least we don't concede again under Pochettino. Or at least our midfield is in full control in every match. Well, yeah, we don't win games, but okay, we are almost there. We are controlling matches. Or look at our attack. Ruthless, devastating finishes, clinical finishing. No, there's not. Even goalkeeper, erratic. There's not a single area of our game where you can say, yep, Poch, kudos to you. Kudos to you. No. It's crazy. It's crazy. What's the score? What's the score of Everton versus Newcastle? Spurs 1-0. Bloody hell, man. Pedro Porro. Ange Postecoglou comes in. All these injuries that Ange Postecoglou has to key players. I don't see him giving all of these nonsense excuse. Everton 0-0 against Newcastle. We're going to get absolutely ripped apart at Goodison Park. We're going to get ripped apart. We're going to get ripped apart. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'll catch you guys later. I'll see if I do a news video later tonight, but I'll probably see you guys tomorrow for a live stream. But yeah, if there's nothing else dropping tonight in terms of news, yeah, I so can't be bothered against Everton, man. We're all gonna just rock up and see a calamity. Like, how crazy is that, huh? The entire fan base, come everyone. Let's watch ourselves collapse in front of the world against Everton at Goodison Park. That's what's gonna happen. Anywho, take care, and I'll catch you guys soon. Smash the like button if you can. If you're here for the first time, subscribe. We are all we got during these hard times. We are all we got. We just got at each other. That's all we have. That's all we got. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.